Corbets is kind of the opposite, where you almost want to aim kind of on top of the base's shoulders or almost a little bit behind the base. Again, coming from a handstand, snapping down to a standing up position. It's easier if you're not literally replacing the hands with the feet and you're coming a little bit backwards.
I think about both of those as, you know, if I'm like a high jumper and I'm jumping up and over that pole to land on my hands, and then same thing on the Corbet, I'm really thinking ride that push all the way up and like up and over to land on the feet.
Yeah.
Just to remind myself more than anything to really maximize the push from the base, because what I've seen definitely, and I've for sure been guilty of doing it as well, is going early means you're giving your base less time to catch hands or feet, and more time is always better. On Corbets, I think a couple of things. One, Corbet I think is a nice entry dynamic, I feel like. And it feels weird to say, but you can see the skill the whole time, which is kind of nice. And even more so if we're talking about reverse Corbet. But you're in a hand-to-hand, and if you really are riding that push all the way up, and that's, you know, thinking the hand-to-hand tempos, right? Your base is pushing you all the way to extend it and then really kind of releasing from there. I can see that whole way, and I'm really thinking about pushing away, and I have a moment where I see the base below me and I see his hands, and I'm literally going, here you go, here's my feet. And just placing my feet kind of in the direction of where the base's hands are. So I like this one because it feels like I have a lot of control, I have a lot of visibility, and I think on dynamics, that's a thing that can scare people a lot of the time.
No, and basically just the most important thing on all these catches is to like throw high, leave your hands up there. I like to say stick your hands in the blender. You know, there's a falling object coming at you, and it's natural to shy away. But if you do that, it's going to continue to accelerate. Whereas if you meet it earlier, it's both going to be moving slower, and you have more time and like more bend to give in order to actually like resist and slow things down. So always aggressive catch, absorb.
And I think the number one thing that we haven't actually said in this conversation is bases. Use your legs to receive as well. If you are using just hands, what I feel as a flyer is usually some version of like this on the way down.
Yeah, or thunk.
Yes, or a big thunk and my platform comes falling up from under me.
But you do want to avoid the opposite though, like make the flyer's weight push you into your legs. A lot of times bases will like hear this stuff and they'll like squat before their legs are there, and then they have nowhere to go, and you still have this kind of thunk.
Yes. Another big one for Corbets on the push. We talked about really pushing away, that shoulder shrug. I was talking about pushing back against the base. One other big one on this one, make sure when we're doing the push, we want to leave that shoulder angle open. For a Corbet in particular, any close on that push is actually going to send the whole skill forward.
Yep.
So if you're experiencing that as a flyer, if you're noticing that, you know, you're doing all the other things right, but the skill keeps kind of drifting forward, that's probably what's going wrong, is that there's a slight bend in the shoulder. So really engage the shoulders, engage the pecs, and lock that shoulder angle and give it a good push. But really try hard not to let it close, because that will send the trajectory of the skill forward.